Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric. Welcome to Epic Universe Reviews, a series of videos reviewing each of the 11 rides at the all-new Universal's Epic Universe theme park at Universal Orlando Resort. In each video, I will talk about my experience on one of the rides, provide useful information about it, and provide some final thoughts on how good the ride is. Let's begin this series with the first ride I experienced, Hiccup Swing Gliders. This ride is a family-friendly multi-launch coaster manufactured by Intamin, the same company that built Hagrid's. Spoilers for both of those rides ahead, in case you haven't seen Hagrid's POV somehow. But let's dive in. Hagrid's is obviously a very highly acclaimed ride. Sometimes it's called the best roller coaster in the world. I certainly like Hagrid's. Its pacing, scenery, and atmosphere are all pretty much top-notch. But I enjoy Hiccup Swing Gliders as well, and I might even prefer it. Let's talk about the queue for Hiccups before comparing the ride experiences. If you love highly themed queues, you're in luck at Epic Universe, but Hiccup is not really among the best in this regard. Entering through Hiccup's house, it looks quite nice. That's a fun start, and the roller coaster passing over the queue is a beauty for a roller coaster fan like myself. But there aren't many other notable elements otherwise. It's not a bad queue, but the remaining themed elements are sparse until the solid loading platform, and there's not much shade. This allows for great roller coaster views, but if you have to wait in the line a while, you'll be grateful for the water fountain they installed. Most Epic Universe rides have drinking fountains at some point in the queues, and I'm very happy those exist. I can't recall seeing that at any other North American amusement park, and overall, the queue is an okay start, with the view of the ride being what will get you the most excited. Now for the ride itself. This ride is a dual loading platform, meaning that the operators load 2 trains at a time. Once one is sent, the other one's already getting prepared for dispatch. You'll be told to go to one side or the other, and these are the exact same ride experience. Choosing one or the other side does not alter it at all, so don't request a specific side. You can request a specific row, and while results potentially can vary, other rides at the park have taught me that usually you can wait for the front if you want that, even if somebody else got assigned it first. You have to wait while an extra train, but based on my front row experience, that might be worth it. Once you board, you embark on a journey that bears many similarities to Hagrid's. Big spoilers right here. Apart from being a family launch coaster, both of these are particularly scenic rides, tell stories of magical creature experts sending you on expeditions, both take place on vehicles that don't work as planned, contain numerous magical creatures, feature moments where the train goes backwards unexpectedly, and contain onboard audio with great music and copious dialogue from the creature expert. Admittedly, comparing Hiccup and Hagrid themselves as magical creature experts is vague, but the coasters clearly have similar stories, theming, and track elements. There are differences, but the rides do have some similar strengths. So let's talk through the full experience of Hiccup Swing Gliders and draw comparisons to Hagrid's along the way. When you leave the station on Hiccups, Hiccup himself immediately speaks to you through the onboard audio. I learned through POVs that there is more than one audio track for this ride. On each of 6 audio tracks, Hiccup has different dialogue and therefore different jokes, which I find a lot of fun. This first part of the ride is a simple way to get you to the first show scene, and it makes up for a lack of notable thriller theming elements with the stellar music taken from the How to Train Your Dragon film. The iconic song that plays through most of the ride is known as Test Drive, and has always been the perfect fit for a theme park attraction due to its mix of whimsy and intensity. Even if it's your first time hearing the song, I think this music is universal. I don't know anyone who dislikes it. I'm super glad this ride exists for the use of the music alone. After a few small turns, the first show scene begins. Here, you see an impressive Hiccup animatronic and an even more impressive toothless one. Hiccup tries to install the wings on your glider, which is the vehicle you're riding in. However, Toothless hits the launch button too early, and you go flying without wings, meaning the name of the ride is technically false advertising. You soar over Burke as the music swells, you pass several scenic sights, and you hear Hiccup talking frantically as he tries to figure out how to keep you safe. Highlights of this first section include flying over the queue and walkway, meaning guests look up at you as if you really were a dragon, soaring over and diving into a beautifully atmospheric tunnel, and circling the iconic sheep from the How to Train Your Dragon films. The music with a smile on my face, and while the forces don't throw you out of your seat, the moderate speed and zippy turns make this section feel very fun and complete, even though it's under 30 seconds long. My one issue is that I struggled to understand what Hiccup was saying most of the time. To draw my first comparison to Hagrid's, I think Hagrid's voice was a lot clearer. I'm not sure if there was an outside noise drowning out Hiccup, an issue with audio levels, or a problem with my listening skills. But I definitely missed some of the things Hiccup said that I think could have added to the fun factor of the ride. I was sometimes trying to listen to him so much that it drew focus away from the scenery, but still, this section is a blast. At this point, we enter the second show scene, taking place in a nest for a dragon species known as gronkles. Certain audio tracks note that gronkle eggs hatch in hot areas and explode upon hatching, making them very dangerous. Some audio tracks might miss this detail, as I recall Coaster Studios saying he was confused about the concern for the gronkles. I also missed the exploding egg tidbit, and I assumed the reason we were concerned was based on the movies. For those who don't know, How to Train Your Dragon 2 notably mentions that baby dragons don't listen to anyone. Therefore, I thought the concern was that the baby gronkles attacking us would not be able to stop because Hiccup couldn't train them. There was also the possible issue that since no mother gronkles were present, the babies might think our glider was the mother, and that would be messed up. But anyway, the train launches forward but does not clear the next hill, meaning you fall back into the gronkle nest as some begin hatching. Then, you launch over the hill, and the stellar music continues. This final section begins with a turn into a structure full of dragon houses, similar to birdhouses. You pass some static dragon figures, and I love how close you get to them. The final section is back where you began, flying over some lush grass with views of Stardust Racers to your left, and an ugly area outside of park boundaries straight ahead. This sightline issue has been mentioned before, and I guess the ride would feel more immersive if they built a structure to hide the backstage. However, I do like how open and expansive the final area feels as you soar to the finish, so I'm fine with just waiting for the trees to grow out in this one. I believe Hagrid received this complaint to a degree back when it opened as well, but it's certainly less of an issue because the ride is further from park boundaries and is somewhat faster than Hiccup. Despite the sightline, I find this to be a very enjoyable final section of the coaster, and a great end to the experience. Overall, I love Hiccup swing gliders. I've recently found myself very impressed by many family coasters that don't necessarily blow your mind with thrills or theming, but provide excellent and well-paced experiences with memorable moments and unforgettable atmosphere. I was really smiling the whole way through on this one, especially in the main roller coaster portions. My only notable complaint is not being able to understand what Hiccup was saying, but I could always hear that gorgeous music. It's one of the best family coasters I've done for sure, but is it better than Hagrid's? Well, I've come to the conclusion that while the rides have similarities, the experiences really can be quite different. Hagrid's is definitely the more thrilling coaster, which appeals to me as someone who's much more amused by thrills than theming in general. However, that's not the be-all end-all, because there are some family coasters like Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood, where I have so much fun on them that I even prefer them to rides like Hagrid's, even if their theming is a little more bare bones. Big Bear Mountain is my favorite family coaster, with less surrounding theming than Hiccup, but equally strong pacing, superior dialogue, and maybe better music. Big Bear Mountain has a killer fiddle-based soundtrack that really hits home the location and the nature of this adventure. The moment you hit the final launch and the fiddle hits a crescendo is one of my favorite moments on any roller coaster, and it's genuinely not thrilling at all. Hagrid's also has a moment I especially like that I think is the ultimate reason I prefer it to Hiccup. I actually have more fun on the main roller coaster sections of Hiccup due to the music feeling less perilous and more whimsical, but the indoor section of Hagrid's is almost unmatched when it comes to Universal's themed experiences. I was so impressed by it on my first ride, and it remains a highlight. Hiccup certainly keeps me entertained the whole way through, but it didn't have any moments that hit me quite like the one on Big Bear Mountain or the one on Hagrid's. Compared to Hagrid specifically, its show scenes just aren't quite as strong as those. Hiccup is a consistently fun and beautiful ride that I love for the reasons I've said and more, but it's not one that will necessarily blow everyone away. However, if you love the How to Train Your Dragon films, there's a chance it will do exactly that. To end this review, I will be giving the ride a number score out of 10. A 1 means it's among the absolute worst of Universal attractions, such as Fast and Furious Supercharged. A 10 means it's among the absolute best of Universal attractions, such as Velocicoaster or Spider-Man. Those scores are just my opinion, as is the Hiccup score. For the ride's final score, I decided on a very strong 8 out of 10. There are very few improvements that could be made, and it almost got a 9. But there are other rides with better standout moments that I would give 9s and 10s. Granted, this high score should tell you that just being a fun and well thought out ride, is more than enough for greatness. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please check out the rest of the Epic Universe reviews as they come out, and my other videos about Epic Universe in general. Subscribe for more theme park videos. I'll see you next time.